ब्रह्मचर्यव्रती दंडी सर्ववेदांत पंडित श्रीमद्विवेकयोगी मां प्रचोदयतु सर्वदा. Namaste to all. I feel extremely happy that I have been called upon to give a talk on the Vedic Vision when the Vivekananda, Prabodhini and Vivekananda Kendra together, also combining with the Aurobindo Center for Advanced Research, celebrating the event of India's 75th Independence Day and Sri Aurobindo's 150th birth anniversary. It's a great blessing and a privilege to be associated with such a grand work. I have chosen the topic Vedic Vision for the modern society. Of course, it is not something which can be condensed into a 1 hour or 2 hour lecture, but still some points which we can think over, meditate upon and make practical in our lives. Let me start from the very beginning. Shrinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha Ayedhamani Divyani Tastu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasaparastad Tameva Viditva Atimrityumeti Nanyapantha Vidyate Naya. Hear ye, children of immortal bliss, even ye that reside in the higher spheres. I have found the Ancient One, who is beyond all darkness, all delusion. Knowing Him alone, you shall be saved from death over and over again. This was the call of our great seers, the masterminds, the scientists of our Indian continent, who, after they discovered the ultimate truth, gave the call to the whole of humanity to wake up from their slumber and realize this truth. So, thousands of years back, when probably the rest of the world were groping in darkness, not realizing the real potentiality of human life, when they were wandering about like that, here were the seers already dissatisfied with their material life, finding no charm in their material life, had started delving deep into themselves and trying to explore the possibilities which are lying hidden within. And that is how the Vedic vision has blossomed in India. Today it is very, very relevant because godless materialism, merciless commercialism and senseless consumerism, they have brought the world to a point of no return. The possibility of a Kurukshetra war is also there, maybe between a materialistic culture and a spirituality culture, or it may be fanatic religious types. Some way or other we find this Kurukshetra war continuing in the world. It doesn't stop. Probably it gives us opportunities to rise above them, or probably it is dragging us down into the worthlessness of life itself. So somehow or other it is going on, but one good thing is, in the midst of all this chaos and confusion, if we are carefully listening, we can listen to the Panchajanya of Sri Krishna, because here and there we find people talking about global globalization of economy, global concern for environment, understanding religious cultures, interculturalism or something like that. So, some sane minds are already getting concerned about what is happening to the humanity today. They want to rescue the humanity. So, this becomes very, very relevant because the concern of the Indian seers were common inheritance like Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, then unity of existence, shared destiny and so on. They were the watchwords of the Indian culture and civilization. So probably this Vedic vision is very, very relevant for the modern society. Now, how did they get into this depth of vision, this unified, universal vision? How did they get into it? Here again we can quote a sloka from Kathopanishad when Yama is talking to the young boy Nachiketa, Paranchikani Vedrunad Swayambhu Tasmat Paran Pashyadinandaratman Kaschid Dhiraha Pratyagatmanamaikshat Avritta Chakshu Amrutatvamichan. What a beautiful expression. See, we have all the Panchendriyas, the five sense organs, but all of them are directed outside. They don't know what is happening inside. They don't have the capacity to go inside and look there. Eyes see only what is there in the outside world. Ears listen only to the sounds coming from the outside. Similarly, all the five of them are concerned only with what the outside world gives to us. So probably these people became very much concerned. We can understand this if I just say, just like Albert Einstein, we'll come to that a little later. What is it immovable? What is it which is eternal in what is transient in this world? So, that sort of an approach, that is what these great seers started getting, and we find some of them kaschid dhiraha. Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yadati siddhai. Not everybody will seek truth. Kaschid. A few of them, they became concerned about the transient nature of the materialism and they started looking inside. Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanamaikshat. They saw the soul within, the Satchidananda Swarupa within they saw when Avritta Chakshu. Then they locked up these five indriyas and started looking inside. Why? Amritattvamichan. They found there must be some immortality somewhere hidden. Among all these changing phenomena, there must be a changeless truth. That is how the Indian seers had understood long, long ago, that only by conquering the temptations of the five senses can they delve into themselves. In this realization of the Pratyagatma, the soul within, they could taste the bliss, a super bliss, bliss eternal, which is not available in the world outside. And they realized the worthlessness of the world outside. Out of this discovery has evolved the entire Vedic vision, Vedic literature of India that marked the beginning of the dawn of a new civilization in India, which has sustained through centuries. Centuries means countless centuries. We don't know when it actually started. Countless centuries. And made India slightly different from the rest of the world. The knowledge and experience the rishis gained through their tapas, meditations and intuition have helped and sustained the Vedic vision not only as a unique science of self-knowledge, but also as a refuge par excellence for one and all sinking in the deep morass of materialism. See, I remember this context, some personal experience I had talking to some youngsters who came here from some Canadian universities. It was years back. I was to give a talk to them in the Cochin University, and after the talk was over, some girls came and said, "Madam, we want to ask you some questions." I said, "Welcome." Then they said, "See, we travel all over the world, but we get the same flavor, same fragrance that we get in our own countries. The typical Western town or restaurant or somewhere you go, you get this particular type of smell or flavor, and that is what we get everywhere. The same restaurants, the same type of food, maybe slight differences in the material probably, the same type of enjoyments, only concerned with the senses. We don't get anything else. But when we come to India, there is a special fragrance. And what is that special fragrance due to? Madam, please tell me, where can we get it? Where have you hidden it? That is what they ask. Where have you hidden it? In the libraries, in the ashrams, in the books, or with some teachers? We want to enjoy that. We have come for that. We are not interested in what you are arranging, the 5-star hotel culture and all that. We are not interested. We want to go into the depths of the culture in your country and absorb that fragrance and make it part of our living culture. I just remember the way they responded to the talk. So that is what is happening now. Fed up of the materialism, there are hundreds and thousands of people who are ready to take to a life of austerity, to a life of yoga, to a life of renunciation, life of service and so on. And many of them flock to India because India can combine all of them and give them a deep satisfaction of having done something, because we have all the yoga. We'll come to that later. So it will not be wrong to say that it is this sort of a Vedic approach, the Vedic vision, the vision of the truth inside, the possible bliss within, the necessity to strive to reach it to that Advaita level of understanding, all of them combined together has given India what? Why India? Just imagine, is there anything here which doesn't have that fragrance? Let us see some of them. From time immemorial, that all-encompassing vision has nurtured and sustained a spiritual culture of extraordinary depth and splendor, held this nation as one amidst all the diversities, food, dress, language, everything diverse, but still there is a oneness, there is a unity. Bewildering diversities. Perceived it against all vicissitudes of history, preserved it through all the vicissitudes. Anybody who knows Indian history, we know how the various cultures were invading India, merciless killing, merciless destruction of our temple, libraries, books and everything. All India has passed through all these vicissitudes of history, but still today India is special country, endowed human life with divine potentiality. It is only here that we say Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, each soul is potentially divine. Woven a social fabric of lasting durability and elegance. The Varnashrama dharmas, when you analyze them in depth, you will find it is the ultimate you can speak of in terms of coherence, understanding and blissfulness. Lasting durability and elegance. Even today we find, after so many centuries, still we find this some facade of this Varnashrama dharmas still going strong in the country. Visible, interrelating, valuable, holistic, scientific concepts interrelating man with the visible and invisible cosmic laws and forces, the yajnas, the Shodasha samskaras. These are all interlinking man with that super cosmic forces. And the result of it is, from time to time we have had various incarnations, great sages, saints and philosophers, whose words continue to inspire mankind to this day. Fashioned heroes and heroines of unsurpassed beauty and character and excellence worthy of emulation. Rani Lakshmibai, Chitor Padmini, the Ahilya Bai, the Sri Ramakrishna's Sharada Devi. So, such immaculate personalities we have created because they all had this basic note of Indian culture as the foundation stone in their lives. Above all, made our country Punya Bhumi, Dharma Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, Tyaga Bhumi, Satya Bhumi. Which other country has got so many synonyms? Each one can give you a philosophy. When you say it is Satya Bhumi, this Satya, what is Satya? We will be seeing it later. What is this Satya? Why it is called Satya Bhumi? Why it is called Dharma Bhumi? Why it is a Punya Bhumi? So it has retained these names from time immemorial, and people consider it as a blessing to be born in this country. Hundreds and thousands of people have written in their poetry, in their writings, that if we have another birth, let us be born as a child in Mother India's lap. That is how they have prayed. So just imagine what an effect this Vedic vision or Vedic knowledge or the knowledge of truth, dharma, etc. have had on generations of people. A blessing to be born here. Perpetuating this vision for the posterity would become the prime concern of every Indian. When Swamiji spoke at the World Parliament of Religions, he said, I am proud to be an Indian. So that should go deep into the heart of each and every Indian today. And we should be able to stand up and say, I am proud to belong to this Punya Bhumi. I am proud to be an Indian because I have a message for the universe, for the world. Srinvantu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha. The same knowledge, how we have understood, how we have practiced it, we would like to share with the whole. Even today it is possible. So, for brevity's sake, we can't go into the extensive literature, but we'll pick up some very important ideas and try to make it part of our thinking and life if possible. Let us go to the very fundamental, Satyasya Satyam. Satyasya Satyam. Not only just Satya, Satyasya Satyam. Thousands of years ago, when humanity was still wandering aimlessly, the super scientists of India, the Vedic rishis, were engaged in the naughty task of uncovering the ultimate reality, as I said earlier, quoting the Kadaupanishad slogan, the reality of realities, and they soon found that was beyond the senses, mind and intellect. Though through a step-by-step approach, penetrating through the world of plurality, they looked into the very core of their inner being and discovered the ultimate truth as a self. Pratyagatmanamakshat. They saw the truth within. This they called Satyasya Satyam. Truth, its nature was described as Sat Chit Ananda. In Western terms, they will say truth, goodness and beauty. Sat Chit Ananda. When they woke up from the superconscious experience of oneness, they also discovered another great truth, that the truth is one, but its expressions could be diverse, manifold. It is this truth in which everything in the universe remains interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. Evolving a superfine technology of yoga. Yoga doesn't mean just the yoga which we are practicing now. Yoga is a very, very comprehensive term, and we can, for convenience sake, we say Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is the yoga of self-sacrifice. Bhakti Yoga is the yoga of self-surrender. Raja Yoga could be the yoga of self-control, and Jnana Yoga, self-analysis. So, apart from these four ways of analyzing human life, or getting into a code of worship of truth, is there anything else remaining? Satyasya Satyam. For these things, this is a superfine technology of yoga that they used for covering this truth through self-realization. And this is the greatest discovery and blessing that the rishis have conferred on humanity. See, everywhere else, the great seers, they knew that something is there. But probably some of them must have felt it within themselves. But none of them could formulate a technology by which everybody who is a sincere sadhak can reach up to this truth. That is why India is still a very, very scientifically spiritualistic spiritualism. Ours is a scientific spiritualism. The spiritualism which can be practiced and then realized also. It is the awareness of the oneness of truth and its manifestations as many, constituting the Jagat, that mark the Vedic vision. After all, it is the same truth which has manifested. Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. It is the same truth. There is no difference at all. The same truth has manifested as the Jagat which we are enjoying through our senses. This awareness of truth must be nurtured within the individuals to achieve personal integration as well as peace and happiness outside. This truth alone can pave the way for global peace and happiness, understanding. Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ainaya. It is this unification or universalization are probably the only way in which we can bring peace and happiness for the entire humanity. That is why Vedic vision is so very important. The tragedy is, we in India ourselves are very, very, very much in the backward in realizing and understanding this great message. Restoring the value of truth in our lives is the need of the hour. To bring dignity to man, to redeem our society, our nation, and the whole world. Such a vision, a unified vision, not just a vision, a unified vision has bestowed upon our country a rare spiritual fragrance, as I was telling earlier to those girls, a rare spiritual fragrance, and would therefore remain as the eternal vision of Bharat for all times to come. Nobody can destroy this. This is a gift, our eternal gift that our great seers have bestowed on our country. For us in India, this discovery ushered in the dawn of enlightenment and introduced us to the most wonderful idea of life eternal. So, in all of us, there is a life eternal, and the opposite of that, part of us is eternal, but part of us is perishable. And it is Kshara and Akshara. Kshara is open to destruction. Akshara will live forever. So, this combination of Kshara and Akshara, that is what makes the human life. This Ganga of integral vision, it had been cascading through centuries and centuries and centuries, and the knowledge of this has given birth to so many different types of philosophies, itihasas, Puranas, 18 Puranas, the great Mahabharata, Mahabhagavata, Ramayana, all of them, through all of them we find this Jnana Ganga cascading, enriching the lives of the people about whom we read in the Itihasas and Puranas. Enriching every field of human activity, even the war, and giving birth to a unique and spiritually oriented civilization and culture. This Satyam, the eternal truth, has remained the basis of Indian culture and civilization, and to this day we uphold it. Whether we understand it fully, whether we practice it, that's a different thing, but we uphold it, and it is there in our national emblem as Satyameva Jayate, a quotation from the Mundaga Upanishad. Now, because of this, Satyam as the ultimate goal in life, a call has come from all the great rishis, Satyam Param Dhimahi. The one thing to be understood in life, one thing to be realized in life is this Satyam. India's great contribution to world thought and culture is the concept of this one eternal, indivisible, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent truth as the be-all and end-all of all existence. This truth our rishis established as the basis of all knowledge, of spirituality and of science. Hindu culture and religion grew and expanded, holding on to this oneness of truth, the Advaita, which manifests as the many in the universe, where everything remains interrelated, interconnected and interdependent. Sri Krishna tells this in Bhagavad Gita, Parasparam Bhavayanta, Sreya Paramavapsita. What is the nature of this understanding? Parasparam Bhavayanta. You are always ready to help others, to sacrifice others, to accept others, to see the truth in them. That is why Swamiji could speak in the Parliament of Religions. Not only we tolerate all religions, but we accept them as a truth. Ekam sat vipra bahutha vadanti. Understanding the one truth in the many and the many in the one, India developed her unique cultural characteristics. Satyameva Jayate, Satyam Param Dhimahi became the watchwords of the spiritual heritage based on Vedic Vision. It's a matter of great pride to us that the modern science, as it starts revealing more and more the innate oneness of the universe, now we know that the whole universe is really one. Innate oneness of this universe, it is moving closer and closer and closer to the magnificent, closer and closer to the vision of this innate ideal. The result is scientists and visionaries all over the world are becoming increasingly aware of the magnificent contribution that India has made in the field of spiritual science, a science which is holistic, man-making, planet-sustaining as well. If anywhere anybody has a blueprint for the survival of humanity, it is here in India. Our scientific tradition is all the more attractive because here spirituality and science were never contradictory. They were harmoniously blended so well each being complementary to the other. Let me quote here the great words of Arnold Toynbee, who was a great admirer of the Indian culture. He says, "It is already becoming clear that a chapter which had a Western beginning will have to have an Indian ending if it is not to end in the self-destruction of the human race. At this supremely dangerous moment in human history," see, so many years have passed since he made this statement. Now it is all the more important for us to understand. At this supremely dangerous moment in human history, the only way of salvation for mankind is the Indian way. End quote. So the challenge before us today is to generate within us the courage and willpower to retrace from the baneful influences of the Western paradigms, provide an effective living basis for the paradigm shift that is already on, and to expedite the global transition towards it based on the Advaitic vision, non-dual vision, Advaitic non-dual vision, cherished and nurtured by Bharat over scores of centuries. The sum total of this development was the human life itself became recognized as an unfoldment of the one eternal truth, and its prime goal in life was considered as the realization of that truth. That is how Satyam Varam Dhimahi became a watchword. Swami Vivekananda condenses this Vedic knowledge, what I have said so far, in such a beautiful message which he gives in the beginning of his book on Raja Yoga. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. Do it by work or worship, psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of them, and be free. Unquote. In other parts of the world, on the other hand, science of search for truth was focused on the material side only, as they were through the physical means available with them, unable to go beyond the world of senses, mind and intellect. They were unable to decipher the one truth behind the many, nama, rupa, names and forms. The world owes it to Albert Einstein, who opened the eyes of the scientific community to the relativity of the material. It was he who for the first time elevated the modern science to the understanding of the one absolute truth behind the many through the famous equation E is equal to mc squared. So I always call Einstein some Indian rishi born somewhere to focus this idea on the world at large. A recycling of values is going on everywhere. Because this has happened, now a recycling of values are going on everywhere. Values are abstract concepts. So, unless and until we make them very positive in our life, they remain abstract concepts. And that is a challenge. To fathom the real value of values, they must be studied in depth, not only on the outer world, but also in the realm of consciousness, and then tested in life. To achieve this, we should go to the very fountainhead of values by deepening our intellectual search. That is where now meditations come into focus. Only then would we be rewarded with glimpses of the eternal and the infinite behind the transient and the finite, which form the real foundation of the life in totality. That is the source of all values and virtues which ennoble and enrich human beings and hold us together as one. So, a value, to be a real value in life, it must touch the truth within. This is something the West is not understanding. So many good characters, noble characters, but they are values, all right, but they are values because they have as their fountain, as their foundation, truth. That is the one they have to understand. all character building, man making, nation building, and universe sustaining impulses emanate from that one source only. And that source is the ultimate reality, the Satyasya Satyam, as the Vedic seers realized it. That is the uniqueness of the Vedic Vision. Therefore, India has a special role to play in the present crisis when mankind is looking for a new paradigm of reality. Apart from the material scientific reality, they are looking for, at least the seriously thinking people, even the very senior scientists, they are looking for a new paradigm of reality in the hope that such an approach would restore sanity to mankind. See, now mankind is becoming insane. What will bring sanity to mankind? A new approach, a new ideal, a new feeling of oneness. But who will give that? That is the problem. Paradigm of reality in the hope that such an approach would restore sanity to mankind and usher in an era of peace and happiness. Now you see, the areas where there is no peace, areas where there is no happiness, that is becoming more and more conspicuous when you take the world map and point out to the areas where there is no peace, no happiness, always conflicts. We will be struck. What a tragedy we are in. The paradigm has to be centered in the search for unity or truth or solidarity of the whole universe. How to establish that? How to convince people that the whole universe is one, that we are all brothers and sisters and we shouldn't fight for all this. That is the challenge which we will have to face. This point needs to be emphasized because in modern times it is from Swami Vivekananda that the world again listened to this eternal truth of this oneness. In 1893, when Swamiji was speaking at the Parliament of Religions on his famous paper on Hinduism, he brings out this ideal. I quote, "Science is nothing but the finding of unity." Science is not just the study of this and that. Science is nothing but the finding of unity. As soon as science would reach perfect unity, it would stop from further progress because it would reach the goal. Thus, chemistry could not progress further when it would discover one element out of which all others could be made. Physics would stop when it would be able to fulfill the services in discovering one energy in which all the others are but manifestations, and the science of religion become perfect when it would discover Him. Tameva viditva, when we will discover Him who is the one life in the universe of death, Him who is the constant basis of an ever-changing world, one who is the very soul of which all souls are but delusive manifestations. Thus is it, through multiplicity and duality, the ultimate unity is reached. Religion can go no further. This is the goal of all science. That is how Swamiji spoke in the world of Parliament. So if we condense it, we can put it like this probably. I always say the three keys which can open the Indian vision: Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. So if we carefully analyze and through extrapolation, we will find we can cover the entire Vedic vision, from death to immortality, from darkness to light, from transient to eternal. So these are the watchwords which became almost like Mahamantras. You will find it here even today. After centuries, we don't know when they started uttering these three mantras, but even today you can hear it whenever there is a good program, when there is a yajna, when there Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gaya. There are so many people for whom it is a daily mantra. Now we will take up the second most important part of the Vedic vision, that is Dharma. That is translation of truth into life. Dharma is the second most essential ingredient of Vedic vision. A simple definition of Dharma could be translation of truth into life principles, enabling man to lead a noble life, pursue his inquiry into truth by which he manifests his own divinity and helps others to manifest theirs. That is important. Not only that I live a life of divinity, but I should be in a position to help others to manifest that divinity. So what could be the real service we can do to the another? To help another manifest his divinity. Because once he understands the divinity within and starts expressing it outside, then naturally love, peace, understanding, all will emanate from that person, and the whole family or the society stand nurtured by it. So that is the most important part of it. Dharmic values alone can help man to control the inner and outer nature so that he is elevated spiritually. This is what Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsada. If you want shreyas, if you want to move forward in your life, then parasparam bhavayanta. Understand the parasparya, the interrelatedness, interdependence which is there in the universe. A typical example to make people understand it, we can say, earlier we never thought we were connected with the trees around us, but now we know, because the trees absorb the sunlight, absorb the carbon dioxide and give it as a variety of products for us. And man takes oxygen, releases carbon dioxide. Plants takes carbon dioxide, releases oxygen. So see, a simple interrelationship. Like that, crores and crores of interrelationships are there in the universe. Each and every microbe, the nitrogen fixing microbe, the phosphate dissolving microbe, the azotobacter, so many are there who are constantly at work. Parasparam bhavayant, helping each other. They live, but through their life they contribute to the welfare of the humanity. That is how Dharma has its value. You live a life of Dharma and you make others around you dharmic. Dharma denotes the disciplines and the code of conduct that should govern the individual and collective lives of the entire humanity. That is why Bharat came to be called as a Dharma Bhumi. A king became a very dharmic king, and that means the whole kingdom became very, very dharmic. Why Krishna saw to it that the Kauravas were annihilated and Yudhishthira became the Chakravarti, because that was the way to bring Dharma back into the focus. So Dharma is such a word which has such a comprehensive meaning. It denotes the person who practices it as an upright person, and it also radiates from that person the dharma which makes others happy. All the subtle aspects of dharma have been thoroughly investigated by our seers, earning this land in the name of Dharma Bhumi. So it is not that man alone has dharma. Even an ant has its own dharma. An elephant has its own dharma. A tree has its own dharma. A son has his dharma. Mother has his dharma. Father has. Everybody has swadharma, one's own dharma. And one is born into that dharma. To understand that dharma, link it with this life, eternal, and practice it in life. That is how we will perpetuate the cultural and spiritual values in the society. So we can say, it is the bud of the Satya that blossoms up in real life as Dharma. So we can say manifestation of truth in life can be called as Dharma. Dharma assures all-round peace, happiness and fulfillment not only to the individual but to the society. As we have said earlier, to the society, because a dharmic person radiates dharma. Just like a lighted bulb will radiate light, a dharmic person will radiate dharma into the society. Unfortunately, the value of dharma is lost in the present day society, deeply sunk in the morass of materialism. I, mine, may, I must make money, even at the destruction of the others, destruction of a forest, destruction of a river, destruction of a civilization. I must reign supreme. So this sort of a selfishness in man that has totally upset the core of dharma. Here, but when you are dharmic, every individual is bent upon contributing to the cosmic whole of dharma. If you are not following dharma, he will be bent upon upsetting the rhythm of the whole universe. So they are such beautiful concepts, living principles, that we have to live it and understand it. However much we may study from books or satsangas or lectures, unless and until you take up at least one value and try to live it, doesn't reveal to you the whole. It doesn't take you to the whole at all. The realization of truth in its absolute and ultimate form has been the be-all and end-all of human life in the country from ancient times. After actualizing this truth as the consciousness within and without, the Vedic seers also evolved a specific technology of realizing that truth and translating it into life in toto, thus laying the foundation of the all-comprehensive dharma, which is translated as law of being. The final aim of dharma is, of course, self-realization. Everything, whatever is there in life, purusharthas, their final goal is to touch the divinity within oneself. That is what constitutes the essence of Upanishadic knowledge. To know the self. Again, dharma is the way. The vision has been summarized in the eloquent verse of Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam vada dharmam chara. We have taken it in our emblem, Vedic Vision Foundation. When we were thinking of an emblem, we thought we should inscribe these wonderful words from the Upanishad. Dharma, rooted in its ultimate reality of the oneness of the consciousness, can provide a most satisfying conceptual foundation to life anywhere and everywhere. For universally acceptable social, moral and ethical values which can integrate man with the whole. That is the importance of it. I put it sometimes, to make it simple. We all have our individual dharma, which is a 3-pin plug. And this we have to plug on to the cosmic dharma, to the main power station, so that cosmic power starts flowing unto us. So when you are dharmic, what happens is your individual plug is plugged on to the cosmic holder, and out flows the dharmic blessings into your life. They integrate man to the whole. Whole means the whole of this universe. Help him to manifest the divinity within and evolve him towards godhood here in the very life itself. That is another important thing of the Vedic vision. Vedic vision doesn't offer you something after you die, no. Here, the peace and happiness and worth you realize here as you live these values. It is amazing that as envisaged by our great rishis and repeatedly asserted by the seers like Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Aurobindo, Swami Vivekananda, and in our own times by Ramana Maharshi, Swami Shivananda, and a host of others, numberless. Even today there are numberless saints and sages who have actualized these truths in their lives and trying to live it on their own and trying to radiate it into the society. The indebtedness that we in Bharat, nay, the entire humanity owe to the rishis of this land, whose astounding intellectual penetrations into consciousness revealed such an unparalleled, unified wholeness of the entire universe. Imagine, unparalleled, unified wholeness of the entire universe, spreading beyond time and space, kala deshavadibhyam, beyond time and space, and the power of whose knowledge, will and action continue to project and sustain this vision through century after century. Isn't it simply marvelous? And what is this Vedic vision? To put it in a nutshell, the ideal that Vedic vision holds before us is the realization of the eternal truth within oneself, feel its presence in the entire universe, and adjust all our activities in such a way as to reflect that principle of oneness in our thoughts, words, and actions. To the rishis, the nature outside was an external expression of the truth within. This realization was truly a quantum leap in knowledge, from unity to universality, from one to many. This vision of the whole and the awareness of man's interrelatedness with and interdependence on that exists is what has made the Indian culture so singularly spiritual and at once in modern times highly scientific and holistic. A profound respect for nature and the wisdom inherent in it is the hallmark for Vedic vision. Environmental awareness, that is now what we are concerned with all over the world. To the Vedic mind, tolerance is a byword. When one gets truly established in the realization of the one truth, genuine hospitality and warm friendship replace feelings of resentment and strangeness. You are attached to everything, whether it is plants or river or everything. They are all part of your family. Ecological balance and social justice are the natural outcome of such a wholesome living centered around the vision of a universal reality, where the individual feels himself bound to the cosmos as a whole. Our single plug is attached to the main holder. This became the dharma of the individual. Now we'll take up another great inspiring ideal, the ideal of yajna. I will call it the high potential cosmic dynamo. So we were thinking, where do the power come into the main source of power where we attach our plug? To ensure that Vedic vision becomes a working practical model, the spirit of yajna should enter into it. The immense spiritual energy that is part of the cosmos becomes available to man when he transforms his life into yajna. Devoid of kartrutva and bhoktrutva, do worship and enjoyership. When work is done with no selfish motivation, it automatically turns into an act of yajna. Such actions not only benefit the doer, but they add to the potential spiritual energy of the entire universe. Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita comes out with a very beautiful slogan in this connection. Annad bhavanti bhudani parjanyad anna sambhava yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhava. That universal cosmic rhythm, he is saying, Annad bhavanti bhudani. We eat rice or we sustain our physical unity. Parjanyad anna sambhava, but from where the anna, the rice is coming, Parjanyad, from the clouds high above. Yajnad bhavati parjanyo. How the parjanyas are formed? Yajnad, when you do yajnas, unselfish, nishkama karma, when you do, they become the yajna and they automatically support the universal power. Yajna karma samudbhava. It is from the work which you do. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi, brahmakshara samudbhavam. Tasmat sarvagadam brahma nityam yajne pradishthana. So go on doing yajna. Karma yoga, when done, removing from it I, my and mine, what remains there is a natural spontaneous blossoming of a bud into a flower. Then flower becomes fruit, etc. So that flowering, that is what can happen when you transform all your actions into the mode of yajna. There are very many ways. Sri Krishna says the most important advice he gives to Arjuna is to transform all his actions into offering to him. That is in the 11th chapter, after showing the entire cosmic figure of Sri Krishna, he says, Yat karoshi yadasnasi yadjuhoshi tatasiyat yat tapassasi kaunteya tad kurishya madarpan. In the place he says, Nimitta matram bhava sabyasachi. You become only an agent doing my work. So in that way, the I, mine, my, they are eliminated it. And what remains is beautiful, just like whatever happening in the nature, rivers flow, mountains support so many things, and then each plant is a social service unit by itself. All this happens because, except in man, selfishness does not enter into their mind at all. So just imagine what selfishness alone has done to humanity, man's selfishness. So we have to remove that. That is why our Puranas connect individual yajnas with proper and timely rains, rich harvest, etc. Except the selfishly motivated work done by man, every other action has a cosmic dimension and implication. One sure way to catch the glory of yajna into our life is to carry on all our life activities as dedication to the Supreme. Yat karoshi, as Sri Krishna taught Arjuna. That would also remove unwanted tension, so much of tension. When you are working in the world today, you are filled with tension because of these three factors. I, my, mine. What will I get? It is my work. It should be done the way I want. So this sort of selfish motivations, that creates so much of pressure on human life. That would also remove unwanted tensions in the lives of the people centered on their ego. Now, some practical ideas by which this Vedic vision can be made more universal. A technology. One of them we can say, Ishavasyamidam Sarvam, a more harmonizing and positive statement of the omniscience of truth with ways and means of practicing the same as our dharma is hard to find in any scriptural literature. Everything in this universe, moving and unmoving, living and non-living, whatever they are, all pervaded by divinity, which is finite, indestructible and eternal. Swami Vivekananda makes the statement more fitting to the present scientific approach by his inimitable way. Thus, quote, everything that is finite in the universe would find its ultimate rest only when classified into infinite. Whatever is there, you analyze, finally where will you get? Into the atoms, molecules. When they break down, you get only energy, the infinite. So Swamiji says, everything that is finite in this universe would find ultimate rest only when classified into the infinite. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, the potential divinity, whatever may be the term we may use, remember this potential divinity, that infinite is a part of our being, and that can add to our dignity of life, our self-confidence, our understanding, our peace, our happiness, everything. To incorporate this truth as part of our life comes the statement from the same Upanishad, Tena tektena bhunjidha ma ghridak kasya sviddhina. Why we are not able to practice it? Because there is no tyaga in me, no renunciation, no capacity to give up. This is a very pertinent statement where Upanishad reminds us there is only one way we can enjoy, through self-restraint, never coveting another's wealth. When I am part of the whole, there is a question of indulging in exploitation, overutilization, aggrandizement, and other associated maladies which are presently tearing apart human lives and devastating our environment. In this highly thought-provoking statement, we can find a subjective truth for adjustment within the human personality, as also a spiritual and scientific basis for man to establish his relationship with the outside world. Atmano mokshatam jagat hitaya cha. Swamiji Vivekananda has put this expression. He has made it as part of the emblem of the Ramakrishna mission. And another, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. As I said, when Swamiji spoke in the Parliament of Religions, he said, we not only, when the others from other communities they came crowding to India, we not only tolerated them, but we accept all the religions as true. So this is what. How could we do that? Because Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. This is part of the Vedic statement. The relentless search for truth, which our learned seers undertook thousands of years back, at a time when civilization and culture were, as we understand them today, were almost non-existent, led them to the astounding discovery that behind the facade of multiplicity of material forms, there is one ultimate truth. Truth or reality, which is the real material and efficient cause behind the universe. The goal and purpose of the life were to recognize this truth and realize it to the best of one's ability. The names by which truth is referred to may be different. In this connection, one cannot but remember Sri Ramakrishna's words. Sri Ramakrishna tells such a simple, elegant way. He says, one calls H2O as water, another as tirtha, another as aqua, another as pani. What is the property, what is the dharma of water? To quench your thirst. What does it matter by which name you call it? You call it Ishvara Allah Tere Naam Sabko Sammati De Bhagavan, isn't it? You call him by any name, but remember, he is the ultimate truth, and he also resides within you and in all others around you. Out of this thought has come the next very, very important ideal, because these meditations provided our seers with a vision of reality, the oneness, there was neither subject nor object, the one truth pervading everything everywhere. Nature outside was just an externalized expression of the same within. That is how they could love nature so much, because in the nature also they found an extension of oneself. And out of this came Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. The whole universe is our family. The above concept, centered in the awareness of one truth, visualizing the whole universe as one's family, leads to an unparalleled expansion of the human mind. which provides a homely remedy for all the ills which are creeping into man's mind, spoiling his interrelationships with people and the environment. Today, sadly, we are in a position that even our own family people's differences in opinions we are not able to tolerate. So, confusion and chaos occur everywhere, whether it's in institutions, whether it is in homes, whether it is in the country, whether it is in the world. So, what is to be done? Just remember this: water can be called by different names, but it should be able to quench your thirst. So similarly, the whole universe is one family. Remember, we have all come from one truth. We are all centered in one dharma. And how can we nurture hatred towards another, intolerance towards another? The statement says that the whole universe is one family. The welfare of the family rests on the proper exercise of the rights and responsibilities of all its members, individually and collectively. Respect, regard, love, sacrifice, service, manifold are the expressions through which those rights and responsibilities are exercised in real life. In the togetherness, in the mutuality, each member responsibly carrying out his work, his duties, remaining as a part of the whole, never separating itself from the whole, part of the whole, and ever keeping at bay his individualistic egoism. The wholeness of the family is kept safe. Parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsyatha, as Sri Krishna puts it. To get at this magnificent cohesiveness, what else but the awareness of the spiritual solidity of the whole could be the basis. Fortunately, such systems' view of life is gaining wide access in the West presently, which recognizes the continuous interactions among living beings and the surrounding ecosystems, as also the complex yet natural interdependence that exists in nature. So this is a new approach to life and its challenges, and this global ecological awareness. If they want a philosophical background, here in India we can easily provide that. In this vision of reality lies the mystery and mastery of creation. Just imagine the mystery and mastery of creation, an understanding and appreciation of which would make life joyful and fulfilling at every moment. Life has to be a celebration when you understand this mystery and mastery of creation. After the Vibhuti Yoga was told to Arjuna, after the Vishwarupa Darshana, it was just, Arjuna could not believe it at all. The mystery and mastery of creation. A profound respect for nature and the wisdom inherent in it were the hallmarks of Indian culture. It helped us to see beauty, glory and goodness where otherwise one saw only ugliness and evil. Tolerance became a byword in our life, a feeling of genuine hospitality and warm friendship replaced feelings of resentment and strangeness. So imagine a vulture comes flying into the Rajya Sabha of Shibi Chakravarti, where earlier a small doe had come and seated on his lap. Shibi gives up his own life so that this bird is helped. The bird survives, the vulture is satisfied. So such wonderful examples of renunciation, that is what has kept our culture so vibrant and alive. A feeling of genuine hospitality and warm friendship replaced feelings of resentment and strangeness. Moderation in contact, balance in behavior, and harmony in activity followed. The beauty is to combine all these, they have created systems of behavior, sadacharas, how one should behave, with the parents, Mother Devo Bhava, Pitra Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Aditi Devo Bhava, a code of conduct following which we can keep up this dharmic vision, Vedic vision in our lives. So, ecological balance and social justice were the natural outcome of such a wholesome living in tune with nature, centered around the vision of universal reality, where the individual felt himself bound to the cosmos as a whole. This became the dharma of the individual, to be always aware that he is part of the whole cosmos. That is the dharma. So each one of us has to go deep into ourselves, find this connection with the whole, and adjust our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we are ever remaining connected with the whole. Then the life becomes one of blessedness, an awareness of the unbreakable relationship with the entire cosmos, and a deep concern for everything around is a must for all. That alone can convert this world into a healthy home for all of us to live together joyously and harmoniously. No other country or culture has evolved such a scientific, unifying, universal vision of the whole and perpetuated it through centuries. Experimented on this, the variations, the same raga with the individual variations. They have experimented it through thousands of people, through thousands of centuries, and have perfected it. Nowhere can we find millions of people praying for the welfare of the entire humanity. Science, religion, race and creed through prayers such as Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. No demarcations. Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayanta. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Which other country, which other culture has this sort of a prayer incorporated in the lives of millions? Wonderful indeed. What an elegant science is Indian spiritual science. We have to strive to make this universal prayer the prayer of the entire humanity by intensifying and feeling the oneness within each one of us. That is the only way in which the Vedic vision can bring the whole of this world, globe together and make it live in peace and happiness. This multifaceted gem of universal understanding or Vedic vision has been chiseled and polished by countless seers and sages from time immemorial to this day. There is nothing purifying as jnana, and may divine Vedamata purify our minds and instill in us the capacity to make Vedic vision an essential ingredient of our lives' vision and mission, and thus bring peace and harmony and happiness for the whole of humanity. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam, nyayena margena mahim mahisha, gobhramanebhya shubhamastu nityam, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.